My wife destroyed 34 years of marriage for another man, then came begging for a second chance. My name is David Harrison, and at 68 years old, I believed I had already survived every major challenge life could throw at me. I was wrong. Most people my age spend their time thinking about retirement, grandchildren, and enjoying the peace they've earned after decades of hard work. The last thing I expected was to discover that my wife of 34 years was having an affair. Yet that's exactly what happened. And the worst part? It wasn't even the first time. For most of our marriage, Sarah and I lived what people would call an ordinary but happy life. We lived in Surrey, raised 2 wonderful children, paid off our mortgage, and built a future together brick by brick. From the outside, we looked like the perfect couple. The sort of couple younger people point at and say, "I hope we're still together like that when we're old." If only they knew. The first sign that something was wrong was ridiculously small. One evening, while we were having tea in the kitchen, Sarah called me Bertie. I nearly laughed. "Bertie?" I said. "Since when do you call me that?" She looked startled. "Oh? I don't know. Just trying something different." Trying something different. After 34 years? It felt strange. Sarah had called me David, Dave, or Love for decades. Never Bertie. Not once. What bothered me wasn't the name itself. It was the way she reacted. She looked nervous. Flustered. Almost guilty. Over the next few days she kept using the nickname, as if she was forcing herself to make it sound natural. Then suddenly she stopped. The whole thing left a sour taste in my mouth. I couldn't explain why. But after so many years together, you learn when something feels off. And something definitely felt off. I hated myself for where my thoughts went next. Cheating. The very idea seemed ridiculous. We were nearly 70. Surely we were past all that nonsense. But the suspicion refused to leave. I considered checking her phone. Instead, I hired a private investigator. Looking back, it sounds extreme. But intuition has saved me more than once in life. 3 days later, the investigator called. "I'm afraid you've got a problem." Those words changed everything. The man was called Richard Bennett. A local businessman in his late 50s who owned a vintage antique shop in town. The investigator showed me photographs. Sarah and Richard holding hands. Sarah leaning against him. Richard wrapping an arm around her waist. Nothing explicit. Nothing scandalous. But enough. Far more than enough. I stared at those photographs for a long time. 34 years. Reduced to a handful of images. It felt unreal. Like I was looking at someone else's life. For several days, I wrestled with what to do. Part of me wanted to confront her immediately. Another part wanted to pretend none of it existed. After all, how do you throw away 34 years? How do you erase a lifetime? But eventually I realized something. She had already thrown it away. Not me. So one evening I sat her down in our living room. "I know about Richard." The color drained from her face instantly. She didn't even try to deny it. That hurt more than any lie could have. I told her our marriage was over. Then I asked her one question. "Why?" Sarah burst into tears. She explained that she'd met Richard in his antique shop. They shared interests. Started exchanging emails. Then messages. Then feelings. The classic story. The story every cheater tells. One conversation became 10. 10 became 100. Eventually they fell in love. Or at least that's what she called it. I sat there listening while the woman I'd loved for more than half my life explained how another man had become more important than our marriage. Every word felt like a knife. Then she dropped the real bombshell. There was something else I should know. 25 years earlier, she cheated on me. A completely different man. A completely different affair. She claimed it had only happened once. She said she'd regretted it ever since. She said she'd promised herself she'd never do it again. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so tragic. I felt numb. Not angry. Not shouting. Just numb. 25 years. For 25 years she had looked me in the eye and kept that secret. I realized something terrifying. The woman sitting opposite me wasn't the woman I thought I knew. Perhaps she never had been. The divorce process began shortly afterwards. Our children were devastated. Both in their late 20s, they never imagined their parents would separate. Neither did I. But life doesn't care about your plans. The house eventually went to Sarah. The rest of the assets were divided fairly. Financially, I came out all right. Emotionally? That took longer. My eldest daughter gave me advice that changed everything. "Dad," she said, "go and do all the things Mum never wanted to do." At first I laughed. Then I realized she was right. So that's exactly what I did. I traveled to China. I spent a week fishing in the Lake District. I attended classic car exhibitions. I watched films alone. I made new friends. For the first time in decades, I lived entirely for myself. And something surprising happened. I became happy. Genuinely happy. Not because my marriage ended, but because I finally understood that life wasn't over. There was still so much left to experience. Almost a year after the divorce, there was a knock at my apartment door. When I opened it, Sarah was standing there. She looked older. Tired. Defeated. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "I need to talk." I reluctantly let her inside. She apologized for everything. The affairs. The lies. The divorce. Then she finally came to the point. "I miss you." I nodded. "I miss you too." Her eyes lit up. For a brief moment she looked hopeful. Then I finished my sentence. "But missing someone doesn't mean they're good for you."